We're in Revit 2016 investigating some issues with the electrical wiring. What we have here is basic 4 walls and a floor with a few outlets. Here we can see that this is an L630R, which is a 208 outlet, and here is a quadplex, which is a 120 volt outlet. Let's look at these in a plan view. So here we can see a bunch of outlets on the wall. Again, there's our L630R, a couple of them, and then our quadplex. We also have a panel already installed with the distribution system, PP1. And so the first thing we're going to do is from this outlet generate a circuit. And one of the problems we can see right off the bat is, for some reason, this outlet is not have the right voltage to it, right voltage amperage to it. So we basically just have to tab on this till we get the circuit, and then we can change the rating over here from 20 to 30. This is important because it's going to change the wire size as well. You can see everything went to number 10s here. The one thing is, you can see right here in the wire size, which gets picked up by the label, that it's added a neutral, even though this is a balanced load and it doesn't require a neutral. And this is where the big issue comes in. Now we can, I've found, take and dial in here, but we can't. So not sure what's going on with that. Maybe if we come back into here and just select the electrical wire itself, I can adjust the number of neutrals in there and get it down to 0. So that's actually a fix to one of the problems that I was having. And here we can see that it puts in the home run arrow, which works out. Not sure why these whips never really connect where you want them to. I'm not sure if there's a way to correct that or not. So here we have a single circuit, which seems to be working out okay, and we'll go ahead and tag that. I've got free end here, so I'm going to do that and drag it off. This is a custom electrical tag that I built. And if we want to look at it, let's go into edit the family real quick, select it, and edit the label. So at first we can see it picks up the panel name, puts a dash in, and then the circuit numbers, which it pulls out, and it's basically the same information that's carried over from the circuit into the panel schedules. We get a break to a next line. Then this mark, we use this to actually control entering the size of the conduit, and I'll show you where that gets entered in a second. The letter C for conduit and a comma, and then lastly the wire size that it picks up right out of the wire size. And since the last entry is always the ground, we put a G on there for the ground. We'll go ahead and close that without any changes. And we're back in. So you can see how it's picked this up here. Power panel 1, circuits 1 and 3, which this does require 2 breaker positions, a double breaker. 18C, so we're going to click on there and then go over to the mark and change that to 3/4 inch, and boom, so now it goes back to 3/4 inch conduit. So here we have 2 number 10 hots, 1 number 10 neutral, and 1 number 10 ground. Well, that's not right. We just told it that there's not 1 number 10 ground. Here it's showing up that it is 1 number 10 ground here. Up here, or that there's 1 number 10 neutral in here. But up here, where we've just dialed it down to 0, it's not affecting this. Not sure why. Oh, what about if I put that up to 4? Now that increases that. can increase or decrease that to less than 0, but it doesn't change. So let's look at the MEP settings. So go into Manage, MEP Settings, Electrical Settings, go over to Wiring, down to Wiring Types, and then we'll click Neutral Required, check it off, and say OK. So now our wiring has gotten really screwy. Let's check to see what happens here again. It just says 2 number 10s. Well, we know that's not right either. The tick marks are right. That's not. It says neutral conductors -1, which I find interesting. It does say a ground conductor is there. And then we've got 2 hots. So how this is displaying is just 2 dash number 10 makes no sense whatsoever. So it's stayed with the ground, but didn't put in our wire size here. And again, that was just from going to MEP settings, electrical settings, neutral required. Go back and check again. We can see here, this is actually the correct wiring structure. This is not. This is not reporting what is shown there. This is reporting what's shown there in wire size, but it's not correct. That's issue 1. Now let's look at issue 2. So we click on another outlet, and then we're going to add another circuit. Make sure we add its home run first. Again, this is one of those that we're going to have to change the voltage on. So highlight the outlet till we get the box. We're going to change the circuit value to 30 in there. Can't change the wires down here, even though it gives us 1 number 10 neutral, 1 number 10 neutral, no ability to change it. So there it is. Hey, there's that silly neutral again. Why do we have it? And go over here and see if I can get rid of it down to 0. Tick mark works, but again, the reporting does not. So visually it's correct, but the reporting part is not correct. It's not getting that information. So now I'm going to grab this and we're going to connect this circuit to use the other line for its conduit. So we can see it connects here. It updates the 4 number 10s, which is correct, and then the number 10 ground, but we don't need, again, that number 10 neutral. And we can see in here what happened. It picked up the neutral again. So even if I go back in here, I can't get rid of that because it's a calculated value. I don't know if I change this just to on and then try to run that down. Can't do it. So again, kind of an issue there. The other issue here is this hold on a minute, I'm trying, there we go. This silly home run arrow here. Once this gets connected and it shows correctly that this is a double home run, there should be no arrowhead here. That just needs to go away. It's ridiculous. Again, we're not quite connecting at the right spot. I'd love to know if there's a fix to doing that when you design these families of outlets. So there's part of our issue there again. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect one more. I'm going to connect one of these 120s. So again, I'm going to generate a circuit. And I'm going to bring this around and connect it in there. So I'm going to pull that out. So here now we see that we have in this circuit one number 12 hot, one number 12 neutral, and one number 12 ground, which is correct. And then that's got to get passed through here and then over here, so we're running through the same conduit. Here's our silly home run arrowhead, and we added two more over there. This one is finally correct. Let's look back at our tag. So we still got the 3/4 inch conduit was right. Picked up the circuits 1, 3, 2, 4, and 5. That's correct as well. 4 number 10s is correct. 1 number 12 is not correct. Because if we go back over to here, there's 2 number 12s here. And then we have another number 10 neutral, which is not correct. And then we got 1 number 10 ground, which is correct. So here is the way that it should read. I hope that helps explain what's going on. Thanks.